Sup YouTube, welcome back to another video documenting my journey to legend. I've never hit legend before and I'm hoping to do so for the first time this season. If that's something you think you'd be interested in, definitely consider subscribing to the channel. Before I get started with the battles, I want to give a huge shout out to the following people: Zeke Dublay, Jai Heath, and Godi25. Thank you guys so much as always for your support on the channel. It really means a lot. And now without further delay, let's get on with the battles. So we're rocking the same team, just in a different order. This team I completely ripped off from Dan Ottawa from who has his own YouTube channel, Dan Ottawa Pogo, I think it is. He was leading Gyarados in the lead with Metagross and Dragonite in the back. Either of them kind of coming in as a safe swap. Normally it's Dragonite. But he was able to climb over like 400 points in I think like 3 or 4 days with this team. And so I wanted to give it a shot. If you noticed my ELO in the beginning, I didn't climb 400 points with this team. So instead I want to just go through a lot of my mess ups and a lot of my unfamiliarity with playing this team in this particular order. So we had a Gyarados lead into Dragonite. We sort of messed this play up. I should have came in straight with Metagross instead of Gyarados into this second matchup. Like, I know I would have revealed Metagross, but they might have been inclined to swap out and I wouldn't have needed to invest a shield. Now I do. Lucky for me, my opponent goes straight Earthquake and I need to bait. One, because I'm not going to outpace them to an Earthquake, but two, I just need to get some damage done. However, if this is a meter match, which it wasn't, I would have been able to get to the Earthquake. I barely managed to get them down, and I somehow survive and am able to take out that Dragonite. This is the only win, I believe, of the whole video that I leave in here, and that was just because of how close it came, and it was, again, because of my unfamiliarity with the team. I had a positive lead in Dragonite, and yet somehow I managed to throw that off. Here, my opponent throws the Ancient Power just before I'm able to reach that second Aqua Tail. This is a really tricky spot to be in. Typically, I'd suggest farming up to the back-to-back and then throwing, because throwing one before their Ancient Power. I also kind of thought I would survive an Ancient Power. So the way I've played it afterwards, and then this guy lands a Skull Bash, which is insane. The way I've started to play it is I build up and I try to get as close to the 2 Dragon Breaths for every charm that comes through in order to maximize the amount of energy I'm getting. And because of that, I think I'm able to at least get a shield from them. They come in with Swampert and I just know it's over. So even if I had played that out a little bit better, maybe with a shield up, I might have had a shot. This is a horrible lead. I swap into Dragonite, and I think I'm going to try this team again, I guess tonight as of posting this video, but tomorrow while recording. I'm going to shield out Wild Charge from now on, because normally what my opponent does is they come in with either a Gyarados or something that has an easy time farming me down, and then I can't do anything. At least if I shielded there, they would have had to go for crunches, and I might have been able to get a shield back and possibly farm him down. So I come back in with Gyarados. I know they're only going to reach an Aqua Tail, which sucks, because I think they got the debuff. Maybe I was wrong. And I believe, yeah, I swap out immediately because I'm not looking to get farmed down. They have a Haxorus and 2 shields up. There's nothing I can do. I believe this is a win. And I leave this in because I play it a little bit differently. So they play it a little differently. They immediately come into Gyarados, and I'm not going to play for switch just because I got a shield. So now with a shield up, I should be able to have some sort of advantage. I reach this Dragon Claw, which is huge. The best buddy isn't currently on Dragonite. It's on Gyarados, I believe. And I'm going to come back in, wait down my timer, farm them. Oh, wow. I come back in with Metagross. This isn't a crunch. They're not going to reach a crunch. I think that's why. Had they actually been patient, I think they would have reached it, maybe. They come in with Heracross. I can launch this safely, right? Had they come in with Magnezone, it might have been a little trickier for me. And here, I believe my opponent and me CMP, or we're just one off the CMP. And because they get the defense fell, you're going to see that they quit out. And I think it's because they got the defense fell. I was ready to save both shields for Metagross, and maybe that's what they knew. Fairy leads are very difficult for this team. Florges especially, because it builds up energy so quickly. I've tried playing this out differently. This is a very standard team that I'm sure a lot of you have seen. I think it's Florges in the lead, a Snorlax, and a Gyarados. I think. This is the first time I fought this lead, and I wasn't really sure what to do. As you can see, that thing is healthy as hell. So, I throw the Meteor Mash, hoping they don't shield, but they do. And I think I'm gonna, I do one more and then I come in with Dragonite. Dragonite is all but useless to me. If there's a Gyarados, which I'm suspecting there is, then this is an auto loss, right? There's really nothing I could do. I could probably stay in a little longer, farm up to another Meteor Mash, so at least I'm at like 50 energy. But realistically, there's very little that I can do. My other hope is kind of that they throw instead of farming me down, but you know, they're smart. But that superpower is also once debuffed. I think it does about 20-ish% when it's not debuffed, so you sort of, I play it a little differently. And here I start to notice that I'm just gonna get Waterfall down. I was trying to see if there was a possible win con. I play this a little differently. I still lose, I believe. And the reason I play this a little differently is because, as you're gonna see, once they launch this, I get debuffed. So I'm gonna try to catch. I can't really count Fairy Winds. The animation is so weird to me that I don't know when it's starting and when it's ending, and I always let a free damn move in, so I just kind of got lucky there. They come in with Gyarados, and what do? I let this go, and then I think I'm gonna come in and aggressively farm with Dragonite. Yeah, and they're only gonna reach an Aqua Tail. They're not gonna reach a Crunch. And let's see, I believe they're gonna come back in with Florges. How does this happen? So I guess that's about 20%. I'm assuming I CMP tie here. They do shield. And now I'm like, should I shield this? And I don't know. I really don't know. Even if I save 2 shields for Dragonite and somehow miraculously, you know, I don't know. I don't think there was a way to win this, but I think this is probably the best I could have played it. I think winning this entails catching a fairy move onto Metagross, coming back in with Dragonite, farming up as much as you can. Here they give me a hope. Initially when I came in the first time, I should have straight launched the Dragon Claw to force them to have to shield in order to get that move off. And then quite possibly I could have farmed them all the way down, and maybe I would have had enough energy to take out Florges, but that wasn't really looking too good. Here we have another pretty shite lead. I think I miscounted charms, as you're gonna see, because I make a really foolish play. I thought that I was counting, and I counted that charm that snuck through also. Because I don't get any of the debuffs, like I'm not able to take this out or threaten a shield, which kind of sucks. And I come in with Metagross, and I thought they were at 12 or 1 before the pump, but they had the damn pump. I'm like, what the hell? So now I have to straight superpower and hope that I can finagle me a win. So I go straight for the superpower. I'm not really expecting a shield, and they don't. And then they're gonna come back in with Primarina and do as much charm damage as they can, because like I'm probably gonna need this Dragonite. And yeah, it's a Machamp, I believe, not a Conkeldurr. And had I not taken that Hydro Pump, I might have had a shot. I might have been able to farm them down, maybe. But at that point, there was nothing I could do. Here I play this a little bit differently. You're gonna see I'm just gonna keep farming up. And I believe they're at 7 or 8. I'm hoping that they overtap. They do, or maybe they were just going for an extra, and I'm able to get this Aqua Tail off. And now they're gonna shield, or now they're gonna throw. And now it's a little bit easier to farm them down with Metagross and get a lead against something. And what do we do? Farm them down. I believe they come in with Exca. Yeah, and I'm gonna go straight for the Meteor Mash. I believe this is a CMP tie, and I'm just gonna rely on Dragonite. I'm gonna assume that fairy was their hardest counter to this thing, and I'm just gonna come in with D-Knight and try to farm this thing down. I do invest a shield, and I think I'm gonna throw just before... No, they swapped out. So, it's looking kind of good. I'm going to go straight for the superpower. God forbid they call it bait, and I Sukith. I go straight for the Dragon Claw. I'm going to force them to have to decide if they want to expend this energy. They do. I can let this Body Slam go. It won't do enough threatening damage, and I'm hoping I can farm them down. And I can't. They were at the back-to-back, I forgot. But now I can farm them down. And now I have the superpower loaded. And even debuffed once, this takes out the Exca from this health range. So that was beautiful. Maybe if they let the Meteor Mash go through, it would have been a different story, but I don't know. But we managed to come back from that tricky lead. So not all fairy leads are impossible. It's just very, very highly improbable. Here I should have swapped out much faster into Dragonite. Dragonite has a pretty dominant lead against Snorlax, especially if it's not best buddied. I shield because they built up to the Skull Bash and I already got bashed once and I didn't want to get bashed again. Now I know this is a straight Body Slam, so I'm going to build up, throw the Dragon Claw because now they're in Dragon Claw range. Force them to make a decision. I have the back-to-back Dragon Claw. They're not throwing, they don't throw, so I'm just going to throw this Dragon Claw. I believe they shield this, and then they're going to farm down. And this is probably why I should have came in straight away and gotten probably a little lower in health. Also, I should have came in with Metagross so that I didn't have to tank this energy. They blind Dragon Claw, so I guess it would have benefited me. And here I make another stupid mistake. Not going straight for the Earthquake. The Earthquake was a fine play. But now that I'm ahead in energy, they're gonna bait. But I shielded anyway at the last minute. And it ends up costing me. And so I just go straight for the Meteor Mash, the guaranteed damage. They might farm up a little bit more, but my Gyarados is way too low in health to do anything, and I think I know it at this point. And so I'm trying to farm up, trying to farm this down, but there's not a lot I can do. I believe they have like one residual energy, but a Dragon Tail would have, Dragon Tail or two would have taken me out. This is not as unfavorable a lead as you might think, but this is a pretty, like a pretty serious core breaker for this team. You can beat this in the 2 shields. Lucky for me, they swap out. And I just save up energy. Because Excadrill doesn't have a move loaded, I don't think. And now I can probably safely farm this down. I throw just before they reach the crunch. So I didn't farm down. Just to force them to make a decision. And here I thought I might be able to survive a Rock Slide. I come in immediately, even though the switch timers were misaligned, which is maybe a bit of an issue. And here I'm too slow to react. I should have thrown an Aqua Tail or a Crunch immediately as soon as I saw the swap, and I would have still had my Gyarados left in the back. And as you're going to see, it's going to be very important. They're going straight Samtomb. I'm not going to shield up the first one. I'll shield up the next 2. As you're going to see, it's very, very important because I just barely am able to farm this down, but I won't have enough health. Yeah, I don't think I should have thrown energy either. I bait. And a Meteor Mash does a little less than 50%. They're still in the green. So yeah, like I needed that. I needed the Earthquake in that moment. Had I saved Gyarados, had I thrown the Meteor Mash, it would have been an Aqua Tail range, like guaranteed Aqua Tail range. And I probably would have had the energy and beaten the Exca to that move. Because they would have needed back-to-backs, and I think they were only at 2 or 3. So yeah. We're sitting pretty at $24.99. It's not looking the greatest, but I also didn't continue to drop much further down. I'm going to try this team one last time because I think that I can play it better now knowing some of the matchups. Yeah, the whole point of this video is just how do you become a better battler? And I think honestly watching back my videos, or my battles rather, has helped me out a ton because I'm able to like analyze where I could have gone wrong, where I could have made a slight improvement, stuff like that. And yeah, I'm hoping that I can climb back up because I'm tired of being stuck at the 2500s or 2400s in this case. But yeah, thank you guys so much for your support on the channel. It really means a lot, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.